Hey, big bro, how many times have you played princess in this car? Out of the blue, my 5-year-old niece Tiana asked this question. Huh? While driving, my husband Corey responded with a surprised look. What do you mean, playing princess? Well, have you had a lot of princesses in the car? Tiana's odd comment was a turning point. It led me to discover the true identity of my husband. I'm Annie, a 25-year-old office worker. I've recently tied the knot. My husband? Corey, a co-worker. Corey started at the company the same year I did. He's not just good at his job, he's also incredibly good-looking. A real catch from day one. 2 colleagues, Sylvia and Angelica, both a couple of years my senior, clearly had their eyes on him. They often came over to Corey's desk offering to help with work or bringing him snacks, clearly trying to get his attention. One day, I found myself invited to a social gathering by Sylvia and Angelica. Of course, Corey was there too. There were 2 other male employees, but the eyes of these senior colleagues were fixed squarely on Corey. While I politely nodded along with the conversation, I quietly sipped my drink. To my surprise, Corey texted me later that night. Hey, Annie, we didn't get to talk much today. Want to go for a drive sometime? I was taken aback. I had always assumed he had no interest in me. I was a little puzzled by the sudden invitation, but I was delighted that a popular guy like him was showing interest in me. Soon, Corey and I began seeing each other occasionally and eventually started dating. Word got around the office and we became the hot topic. Sylvia and Angelica in particular must have been stunned when they found out we were dating. Our interactions with them turned awkward, limited to polite greetings. Still, I was thrilled that Corey was my boyfriend. He treated me well, and being with him was pure joy. As we continued to date, something started to nag at me. Whenever we were out, Corey seemed to attract attention from women. As we walked down the street, I noticed a pair of young women staring at Corey next to me. After we passed, I overheard them. Wow, did you see that guy? He's so hot. I know, right? What a looker! They were glancing back at us. I glanced at Corey, but it was hard to tell if he was hearing the same thing or not. He was completely expressionless. Maybe for Corey, this kind of thing is just another day at the office. That could be why he doesn't even flinch when he hears voices like this. It's moments like these that make me fall for him all over again. But I couldn't just bask in the joy. It happened while we were sitting in the cafe. Sure enough, a group of women sitting at the next table were stealing glances at Corey. And as we got up to leave and passed by them to pay the bill, I heard the woman whispering among themselves, "He's good looking, but isn't she just average? Yeah, what a waste." Hearing this, a shock ran through me, but I acted like I hadn't heard a thing. Corey, as usual, was indifferent and settled the bill. I was hurt by those words, yet a part of me thought, maybe they're right. I had always felt insecure, fearing that I might not be good enough for someone as handsome as Corey. Driven by my insecurity, I opened up to him about it. I do love you, Corey, but sometimes I worry. You're quite the catch, and I wonder if I'm enough for you. After hearing me say this, Corey looked surprised, but quickly responded with a warm smile. You don't have to worry, Annie. I love you just the way you are. Those words brought tears to my eyes, and I decided to stop overthinking it. And so, our relationship thrived and led us to marriage. At our wedding, Corey was quite the hit with the ladies. My aunt in her 50s ran up to me, exclaiming, "Annie, you've scored a handsome hubby! Way to go!" My old friends also came up to me, whispering, "Your husband is so handsome. We're jealous." But I had no more worries. Corey had chosen to marry me after all. I was so happy. Among the wedding guests were Sylvia and Angelica, my senior colleagues. Both congratulated us, smiling warmly. Congrats! Wishing you all the happiness! I hugged them both, saying, thank you. My older sister and her family also attended. My sister is 4 years older than me and has a 5-year-old daughter named Tiana. I had asked Tiana to be our flower girl. I've always adored Tiana, so having her as part of the ceremony was a joy. Sometime after the wedding, my sister asked if we could babysit Tiana for a bit. Corey had the day off, so I happily agreed. When my sister came to pick her up, Tiana was fussing, saying she didn't want to leave yet. My sister had to carry the crying Tiana away, thanking us before she left. It seemed Tiana wanted to stay longer, I said. Yeah, Corey agreed. You know, we talked about taking a spa getaway, just the two of us, right? How about we take Tiana along next time? Wait, to the spa? Yeah, she was our flower girl, so it'd be a nice thank you. What do you think? If you really want to. Sure. Really? Thank you, Corey. With that, we got the green light from my sister to take Tiana on an overnight spa trip. Corey drove, I was in the passenger seat, and Tiana sat in a child seat we borrowed from my sister. Tiana was all smiles, excited for the drive. We chatted and snacked as we made our way to the spa. After a while, Tiana started to talk. When I was in my mommy's tummy? What? I was shocked. I remembered my sister saying that Tiana might have womb memories. At bedtime, Tiana had mentioned some uncanny things my sister had told me. In my mommy's tummy, I was usually sleeping, but sometimes I'd wake up and float around. Wow, Tiana, that's amazing. You remember so much. Yeah, and I could also hear Mommy's voice. Really? Hearing this, even Corey, who was driving, couldn't hide his astonishment. Wow, can't believe this stuff actually happens. It's amazing, isn't it? Kids are something else. Soon after, Corey saw a convenience store on the side of the road. He parked the car and went inside to shop. Tiana and I decided to wait in the car. Eventually, Corey came back, and we resumed our journey to the hot springs. As we were driving, Tiana suddenly said something surprising. Hey, big bro, how many times have you played princess in this car? Corey almost spat out his coffee. What? Corey looked perplexed as he repeated, Princess? Games? Yep, you've had a lot of princesses in here, haven't you? Caught off guard by Tiana's abrupt comment, Corey was left wide-eyed and speechless. Confused, I turned around to question Tiana. Tiana, what do you mean by princesses? I mean, you've played princess a lot in this car, haven't you? I was as baffled as Corey was. Seeing our confusion, Tiana teased. I won't tell. It's my secret now because I found out on my own. Tiana wouldn't elaborate any further, giggling to herself and whispering, It's a secret. Suddenly, she grew tired and fell asleep. The atmosphere in the car turned strangely awkward. Still puzzled by Tiana's words, Corey and I conversed. So, what was Tiana talking about? This princess thing? No idea, man. I know she likes princess characters and often plays pretend at home. Maybe she saw a princess in the car? Who knows? You know, it seems like Tiana might have some sort of prenatal memories, and maybe even special intuition. Come to think of it, she did mention she found out something on her own. About 2 hours later, we finally arrived at the hot springs. Tiana woke up as we arrived and went with us to our hotel room. All three of us entered the room, and Tiana happily gazed out the window. I want to hit the hot springs right away. Is that cool? Well, sure, go ahead. Corey left the room alone to take a bath. I chatted with Tiana in the room, feeling relaxed. But then I remembered what happened in the car, and I had to ask her again. Hey, Tiana, earlier in the car you asked Corey, how many times have you played princess in this car? What was that about? Uh-huh. I have no idea what you were talking about, and it's been bothering me. Well, then, I'll show you, Annie. Tiana opened her small bag that she always carries and began to lay out various items on the table. What are these? These are the things I found in Big Bro's car. They were cute, so I thought I'd keep them a secret and take them all. I looked at the items Tiana had laid out on the table, and I was stunned. Hairpins, hair clips, earrings, necklaces, lipstick, mascara, and even a hotel-provided hairbrush. None of it was mine, but they were clearly belongings of an adult woman. Where exactly in the car did you find these? Well, they were under the seat near my feet. A lot of them, actually. Wait, all of these were scattered around? Yes, it's like a princess playset, right? Rin has a lot of these at home, too. That's true. Listen, can I hold on to these? I want to ask Corey something. What? No way, I found them. I'll buy you another adorable princess set, okay? Really? Okay, fine then. With that, I put everything Tiana laid out on the table into my bag. I had thought Tiana had some special perception, talking about prenatal memories and such, but it seems that wasn't the case. However, my gut feeling wouldn't go away. Whose are these? Then Tiana and I went to take a hot spring bath. When we returned to the room, Corey was already there fiddling with his mobile phone. Upon our entry, he hurriedly stuffed his phone into his pocket, looking somewhat suspicious. Welcome back. Thanks. The hot springs were nice, right? Yeah, this place has amazing springs. Tiana got all warmed up, too. Yes! After that, we enjoyed a luxurious dinner at the hotel. At night, Tiana, probably tired, fell asleep early. Corey was sprawled out, playing with his phone. Hey, Corey. Could you take a look at this? I placed all the items I had just received from Tiana on the table. Corey, rising from his seat to get a closer look, seemed to freeze, speechless. Looks like Tiana found all these things rolling around on the floor of the car. Corey, who had been slightly flushed from drinking, suddenly turned pale. She thought these were all princess playset stuff. Accessories, lipstick, mascara, brushes, and all. Is that what this is about? So whose necklace is this? I held up the necklace for Corey to see. He didn't answer. Next, I took the lipstick and examined it closely, and it had the name Sylvia engraved on it. Sylvia? At this, Corey averted his eyes. Corey, this can't be Sylvia from work, can it? Corey remained uncomfortably silent. Why would Sylvia's lipstick be in your car? Did you give her a ride? He nodded in silence. Why? Are you seeing Sylvia? He nodded again. Are you kidding? Was this before or after our marriage? Corey answered in a somber tone. Both before and after. What? I was so shocked my mouth stayed wide open. After digging for the truth, Corey finally admitted to having an affair with Sylvia. But the surprises didn't stop there. I began to worry about Angelica, who used to be close to Sylvia and also chased after Corey back in the day. Hey, you're not involved with Angelica too, right? Corey averted his eyes. You've got to be kidding me! Turns out Corey had been secretly seeing both Sylvia and Angelica while we were together. This continued even after we got married. Given that Corey, who works in sales, often worked late and went in on weekends, I now understood why he seemed so busy all the time. When I started dating you, Sylvia began sending me tons of emails every day. She wanted to meet, just the two of us. So I'd meet her occasionally. Then Angelica reached out, and I couldn't say no, and things just spiraled from there. I can't believe this. I felt so drained that I just sat down where I was standing. My handsome, kind husband had been involved with 3 women at the same time. As I probed further, it turns out Corey had dated multiple women since high school. At one point during college, he was seeing up to 5 women at the same time. I never wanted to ask Corey about his past relationships in detail. I thought nothing good would come of it. But to think he was this much of a womanizer. If you wanted to date multiple women, why the heck did you marry me? You could have stayed single and lived it up. I genuinely wanted to marry you, Annie. You're the steady type, someone I wanted as my wife. My parents were also pressuring me to get married and give them grandchildren. So you didn't think you should break up with the others? I really love you, Annie, but I also needed different types of relationships. What? Sylvia is like the dependable older sister, and Angelica is, well, harsh, but physically my type. They all serve different roles for me. It's been normal for me to rotate through multiple women. By now, I was beyond angry and just dumbfounded. My once dashing husband now just looked like a total sleaze. But I had no idea there was something left in the car like that. Me neither. If Tiana hadn't found it, I'd still be in the dark. I'm really sorry. Remember how I used to say I felt insecure because you're so popular? That I felt I wasn't good enough for you? Yeah. Well, that's changed. No matter how handsome or popular you are, you're just a low-life man. Corey looked down in defeat. If you want to sneak around, then go ahead and do it for the rest of your life. You'll find women who will flock to you just because you're good-looking. But I'm done. I want a divorce. Corey's shoulders slumped. It was now late into the night. Tiana was sound asleep. I was thankful to Tiana for finding all those lost items in the car. If not for this turn of events, I'd still be living in ignorance about the real Corey. What was supposed to be a happy hot spring trip had turned into the worst night of our lives. I was grateful to have caught on to Corey's infidelity sooner rather than later. The next day, the 3 of us went home and dropped off Tiana at my sister's place. Once the vacation ended, Corey and I headed back to work. His face was ashen. Everyone arrived for work and the morning meeting began. Today, I was the one leading it. Good morning, everyone. A quick announcement about some lost and found items. It turns out my husband's car was a treasure trove of lost items. Upon asking him, it seems they all belonged to Sylvia and Angelica. I said this while placing the lost items from the car onto my desk. Both Sylvia and Angelica looked shocked, and the other employees started murmuring. Corey just stood there with a blank expression. This lipstick has Sylvia's name on it, doesn't it? As I held out the lipstick, Sylvia rushed over with a flustered look to claim it. I'm not sure about the rest, so could you two sort it out? Sylvia and Angelica started dividing up the various items I had placed on my desk. Both were visibly sweating and flushed. Sylvia, Angelica, Thank you for entertaining my husband so thoroughly before and after our marriage. I understand he's been a frequent guest at your homes." Sylvia and Angelica looked tense. The other employees and even the boss were stunned. "Since I've found out that my husband has been seeing both of these ladies while married to me, I've decided to divorce him." Corey's face sank so low it almost disappeared. "I'm stepping down as his wife, so feel free to fight over him as you please. That's all for me. Thanks for listening. This concludes our morning meeting." I sat down, and the room buzzed with whispers. Corey, Sylvia, and Angelica stood silent and defeated. Soon after, all three were called into a separate room by their bosses. Eventually, the trio could no longer stay at the company and left, effectively getting fired. After the divorce, I returned to my parents' house and planned to commute from there for a while. I consulted a lawyer and sought compensation from Corey, Sylvia, and Angelica in the divorce trial. Later, I learned that Sylvia and Angelica were fully aware of each other's affairs with Corey and had been competing by intentionally leaving their belongings in his car. Their little lost and found battle had been playing out without Corey and me ever knowing. Post-departure from the company, none became a couple, and they all dispersed. All three had a tough time finding new jobs, partly because they'd left the company in what was essentially a firing. Now, it seems, they're all scraping by, dipping into their savings and taking part-time jobs to keep up with their alimony payments from their divorce cases. On top of that, it appears the rumor has spread, and they've lost the relationships they had built up over the years. As for me, being back home meant I saw more of my sister and Tiana. Tiana still adored playing princess, happily prancing in front of the mirror in dresses and tiaras. "You really are a cute princess." "Yeah, I hope I will marry a handsome prince someday." "Yes, but remember, some princes might look good, but are actually really bad. Make sure he's also a prince at heart before you marry him." "Got it." I hope my niece Tiana continues to grow and truly finds happiness. As for me, who ended up divorced in my 20s, I hope to use this bitter experience for a better future, hoping for a good relationship down the line.